The chamber of obsidian glass overlooked the raging surface of Kuruk Prime. Below, the floating citadel rivers of lava carved glowing scars across the planet's blackened crust. Towers of volcanic ash spiraled thousands of meters into a sky permanently stained crimson by sulfur storms. For most life in the galaxy, even orbiting Kuruk Prime was considered suicidal. But today, dozens of ships gathered above it, because today was the 5th galactic Deathworld Summit. High Chancellor Threxel of the Dominion adjusted the translation. Halo around his cranial ridges as he studied the arriving delegations. His 4 eyes glowed with satisfaction. Confirm the attendees, he commanded. His assistant scanned the glowing holodisplay. The Varaxi from Meridian 7 have arrived, Chancellor. The species that evolved in oceans of boiling sulfur. Excellent. The crystalline shardlings from the Helix Nebula are docking now. Their homeworld is struck by quantum lightning storms. Every 9 minutes. Impressive survivors. The benthic deep lords from Ojanus have also arrived, pressure tolerance exceeding 12,000 atmospheres. Threxel's mandibles clicked with approval. Perfect. Every species attending had conquered. Environments that would obliterate ordinary life. That was the purpose of the summit. Only the galaxy's apex survivors were invited. Species forged by brutality, civilizations born from impossible planets. The meeting allowed them to negotiate territories, share hunting rights, and occasionally remind the rest of the galaxy why certain systems were permanently labeled. Extreme hazard, no entry, the assistant hesitated. And the human delegate, Threxel tilted his head. Ah, yes, the humans. His voice carried faint amusement. Earth was recently upgraded to a Class 12 Death World. Correct. That is correct, Chancellor. Ridiculous classification, Threxel replied. Their world has moderate gravity, liquid water, and a stable star. Hardly qualifies as hostile. He waved one claw, dismissively. Still, protocol demanded we invite them? His eyes narrowed toward the landing. Base sensors. Where is their representative? At that exact moment, a small shuttle pierced Kuruk Prime's atmosphere. No escort ships, no defensive drones, no orbital analysis. It simply descended directly toward the summit coordinates. The control chamber fell silent. That seems reckless, one aide muttered. Most species required hours of atmospheric modeling before landing on Kuruk Prime. The gravity alone crushed weaker spacecraft. The air contained toxic gases, capable of dissolving organic lungs within seconds. But the human shuttle landed, smoothly, almost casually. The hatch opened, and a single figure stepped onto the surface. Dr. Elena Vasquez. She wore a lightweight environmental suit, the kind used for routine off-world surveys. Nothing like the armored exoskeletons used by the other species. In one hand, she carried a compact equipment case. In the other, a small lunch container. The summit delegates watched through observation fields as she walked calmly across the volcanic rock. 3-point to gravity. Acid rain. 200 degrees. Celsius surface temperature. She moved like someone strolling through a park. Hi, Chancellor Threxel. Activated the translation broadcast. Human delegate, he announced. Welcome to the Galactic Deathworld Summit. Dr. Elena Vasquez looked up at the towering alien delegates. She waved. Thanks for the invitation. She glanced around at the lava flows. This place reminds me of Iceland, just a bit warmer. Several alien delegates exchanged confused signals. Threxel leaned closer to his sensor display. Your environmental systems appear minimal. Oh, the suit, she said. Basic filtration heat. Insulation and radiation protection. The Chancellor froze. That cannot possibly be adequate for this environment. Dr. Elena Vasquez shrugged. Works fine so far. Then she opened her equipment case. I actually brought some samples, she said brightly. Thought you all might find Earth's biology interesting. Curiosity rippled through the gathered species. Deathworld creatures fascinated them. But what Dr. Elena Vasquez revealed next changed the tone of the summit entirely. She lifted a sealed container. First specimen, she said. Organisms from hydrothermal vents at the bottom of our oceans. The container opened. Inside, metallic worm-like creatures twisted and writhed. The moment they touched Kuruk Prime's volcanic rock, they began feeding. Extremophiles. She explained, they thrive in temperatures above 400 degrees Celsius and survive crushing ocean pressure. The sulfur sea. Vraxi leaned forward, intriguing one said. Your world contains such environments. Oh, sure, she replied casually. That is one of our calmer ecosystems. Silence fell. Dr. Elena Vasquez lifted another container. Icefish from Antarctica, she continued. They produce antifreeze protein so their blood does not freeze solid. Another container. Pteridaes, microscopic animals that can survive the vacuum of space. Massive radiation and temperatures from near absolute zero to over 150 degrees Celsius. The crystalline Shardling delegation emitted a harmonic vibration of concern. Your species evolved among these organisms. Dr. Elena Vasquez nodded yes. Then she opened her lunch box. Anyone want a sandwich? No one responded. The delegates of a dozen lethal civilizations simply stared at the human sitting on a rock in the middle of Kuruk Prime. Eating lunch. Dr. Elena Vasquez chewed thoughtfully. You know what is funny about Earth? No one answered. It is not actually a harsh planet compared to places like this. She gestured at the lava landscape. Planets like Kuruk Prime only have one major threat, the environment. She swallowed another bite. Earth's problem is everything. A hologram flickered above her tablet. Images of Earth's biosphere appeared. Predators, venomous, insects, poisonous plants, parasitic organisms, bacteria capable of dissolving flesh. Every ecosystem on our planet is basically a battlefield, she explained. Millions of species, constantly evolving new ways to survive. The benthic representative spoke slowly. You imply constant. Biological warfare, exactly. She zoomed in on the display. Predators with venoms stronger than industrial toxins. Plants that release chemicals deadlier than most synthetic weapons. Microbes that can shut down entire nervous systems. Another delegate shifted, uncomfortably. And humans. Dr. Elena Vasquez grinned. Humans are the species that survived all of that. The silence became heavy. We did not just adapt to one extreme environment, she continued. We adapted to competing with thousands of other dangerous species. She closed the hologram. So yes, Earth is not a death world because the planet is deadly. It is a death world because everything living there is trying to kill everything else. She stood and brushed dust from her suit. And humans, her smile widened. We are the species that won. Across the Summit amphitheater, the gathered Deathworld champions processed the implications. Creatures that had evolved in boiling oceans. Beings born in crushing. Gravity. Organisms forged by radiation storms, all of them had conquered hostile planets. But humanity had conquered a world where life itself was the enemy. High Chancellor Threxel felt something unfamiliar crawl through his mind. Unease. Because the human delegate was standing comfortably on a planet that required life support bubbles for the rest of them, eating lunch, making conversation, treating the most dangerous summit location in the galaxy like a picnic, and for the first time since the Galactic Deathworld Summit began centuries ago, the gathered survivors understood something terrifying. They had not invited a species from a death world. They had invited the species that had dominated one, and suddenly every delegate in attendance realized the same truth. If humanity ever decided to compete for territory in the wider galaxy, none of them were prepared for what would happen next.